Right, let's go. I haven't turned the light on, I just realised, which hopefully won't be too much of a problem. But can we hear the piano? Here I come. I know there's going to be a little delay, but hello everyone, welcome. Can you hear this piano? I'm once again having the problem where, is this on? Yes, it's on, Daniel. I'm once again having the problem that my sustain pedal is not playing along. As soon as I use my sustain pedal on anything else, it works, but on standalone contact, you can't hear the piano. Oh dear, hold on. How about now? How about now? You must be able to hear it now. Hoping so. Okay, good. All right, good. So this lesson is less structured than the previous lessons, and all the yeses flooding in about 5 seconds after I carry on. This lesson is less structured, but what I wanted to do is show off some modeling live action, and I'm not going to be strutting up and down my little box room, but I want to break down some Chopin. And if you've been in the workshop with us, then you'll know what modeling is. I'm sure you remember what modeling is. So modeling is where we take a piece of music and we decide to learn everything that we can from a piece of music. It's essentially the same as musical analysis in some sense. But with musical analysis, the goal is typically to get a deeper understanding of the piece of music, how it all works. With modeling, what we're really trying to do is understand how... we're trying to understand how we can learn from it as composers. So it's a very slightly different way of thinking about the piece. And so I promised you some Chopin. And what I thought we'd do first is break down one of the shortest pieces of Chopin, but I still think an extraordinarily beautiful miniature. And actually, when I was thinking about how to do this, because it's less structured than the other lessons, I was thinking that I would ask you what you think the piece is revealing to you, and we'll take your answers and we'll develop them and we'll think about them. And so we'll be working at all different levels, whether you're a beginner or whether you're more advanced. We'll all get something different out of this. So the piece, someone has already called it, Haley's already called it. It is Opus 28, number 4. It's his prelude in E minor, and this is the first thing we're going to look at. You might recognize this. It's a very famous piece of his in E minor. I got to move all my wires around so I can actually play. My sustain pedal isn't here, but you might recognize it. Let me know if that's loud enough. Really missed the sustain. I presume you can hear this. So I'm not going to play the whole thing right now. Good. All right, you can hear it. I'm not going to play the whole thing right now. Or would you rather that I did? You know that I'm no pianist. I'm no great performer. And also there's no sustain pedal, so it'll sound pretty clunky. But let's just start with the very top line. What can we get from the very top line? Your answers, please. And I'll just play that top line as you write your answers. I know, Matthew, I'm sorry it does need pedal, but I've tried a bunch of things and I ran out of time. I'm sorry. This is not the Raindrop Prelude. So what can you tell me? I'm looking for some... What can you learn from this top line? Okay, very interesting. So Brian says the first line establishes where we are. But where are we? And Brian, write an answer. It establishes where we are, but how does it do that? Let's go a little deeper. So the first line establishes where we are. That would mean we're in E minor, clearly. This is an E minor chord. But we're not happily at home. If we were happily at home, there might be a root. There might be an E on the bottom. You know, there would be or something. But instead, we're starting on that first inversion. So we're already suspended in this place where we don't feel at home. So it established where we are in some sense, but it's almost already establishing that we're away from home right from the first bar. So what else have people said? The motive is fairly simple, Lightning says. It's an octave. Yeah. So there's this, and what effect does that octave have? Right? Ya, ya, ba, emerging out from the deep. But then the motive itself, Lightning has said, is extremely simple. It's essentially just... And if you look at Chopin's other preludes too, the motives are often very simple. They're only 1 bar long or even half a bar long. And it couldn't be more simple here. And the other motive here is just the repeating chords in the left hand. My foot is firmly down, believe me, on the sustain pedal. It's just not playing along. Very interesting. So Sempre Leggero says B seems to be the center, the dominant, rather than... That wouldn't have the same effect, but by having the B as the center of attention, it again emphasizes this idea that we're not at home. We're on the other side of the scale from home, and we need to find our way back home, maybe. So here we go. Chromatically moving harmonies, Frank says. Yeah. Let's be more specific. Harmonic progression with the common tone. It stays on the dominant to keep the longing for the resolution. Yes, Grim, exactly, and that's what we were. That's what I was sort of getting at with the way it's staying on the B. Yeah, lack of resolution. Okay, but let's go beyond the first bar. So someone's hinted at it with chromatic harmony rather. What's happened? Let's talk about let's talk about something. What's happened? We sunk down. Yes, Lightning says, does this mean that the piece starts off not at home and then has a journey towards home? Yeah, I think we might well find that over the course of this piece as we go. Yes, Matthew, exactly. So someone said chromatic harmony a little bit earlier. Matthew now says everything's moving down using voice leading. And if you look at this, there's 3 voices in this chord. And then the bottom 2 move just by 1 tone or a semitone. And then the top voice moves by a semitone. And then the bottom voice moves by a semitone. And then the top voice moves by a semitone. And then the middle voice. And then the bottom voice. Middle voice, top voice. So they've all side slipped down chromatically to reach this, and it'll keep going as well. Yes, Matthew, you're right again. Tritone substitutions, interesting. I'm curious what you mean by that. But also, more than that, what makes it effective, if we look at this top line again, just the 4th bar, we get from here... It's a 7th chord, so you'd think... 7th chords, especially in this kind of musical language, would typically be resolved in some way, maybe by going... But instead he avoids it. Sinks even lower. So it chromatically side slips again downwards, avoiding our expectations and creating this sense of sadness because it doesn't just let itself resolve so easily. Yes, it is an example. It's a very good example of good voicing. This is. So let's move on to the next line, and I want to keep your comments flowing. Anything's welcome. Anything. Don't worry about being right or there's no right or wrong. There's just different ways of expressing your ideas, I think. What's that? And then. What's going on here? Tell me what's going on. Someone's got to tell me. I'll read your comments in a second. So what's happened there? No one's written. Oh, of course, you're all a few seconds behind me, but no one's told. Yeah, okay, Wahab or Vahab or whatever. Preparing for the cadence, and building suspense as well. So first, in the first two bars, we had D major seventh, and it's the same trick again. We could go ya ba ba. If he wanted to end the piece there, if he got bored, he could just go ya ya dee. But instead of going goes back to D minor again with that chromatic side slipping, and then finally ya da. What's happening there? Why does that feel so pained? And I really want you to dive a bit deeper, everybody. Milk a little further, because my point is here. This is one page of music. How much can you get out of just one page of music? And even saying simple things like, look, the melody is in the top line, and there's an accompaniment in the bass line. Even that is valid, because it's everything we can milk out of it. So this bit, for example, this a wonderful B it's a falling suspension, but at the same time we got these two kind of dissonances happening at the same time, and it makes this tortured chord, right? Doesn't it? Yes, Brian, it does sound longing. Exactly. And then, as people have already said, and this now, unlike the last few dominants, now we're on the dominant chord, the seventh chord of home. So finally we feel like, but he's going to draw it out. I think it's supposed to be this. Oh, what's happened there? We should be da, ba, ba, but instead it's yada, 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 yada. We've gone, well, I'm not going to say it, but have a guess what I was going to say. Yes, sorry, I don't know how you say that username. Wahab's I just love the disregard for conventional chord progressions and just using voice leading to dictate where the melody goes. I love it too. And that's exactly what he does. And more. It sounds longing, and by making the harmony melody so stretched out, it makes for the longing to be felt more. Yes, it does. He's delaying. He's constantly hinting at resolution and then delaying it, and hinting at it and delaying it again and again and again. Yes, Fellow says it's a masterclass on how to first build expectations and then trick the listener by not fulfilling them. Yeah, I wouldn't even say, well, trick the listener maybe. But I love you so much, Chopin. Yeah. But this last bit, ya do 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 ya ba ba, and wherever we wound up again, we were so nearly home. It's like we're sort of halfway through the movie, and then we've wound up right back where we started. And had he just gone one, you notice the whole way through, if you look at a larger scale structure now, look at these two full lines. If we were to break this down into its bare elements, what's the journey been so far? We've started at B. What's the journey been so far up until the end of the second line? Yeah, Matthew says we've wound up here where we were at the beginning, which is right, back where we started. He doesn't resolve, Lightning says, to keep that longing feeling more and more. Our hearts want it, yeah. And the dissonance makes the listener feel uncomfortable. Yeah, you feel it in your heart, wanting to eventually go back home. But yes, Jeffrey, you're right. The left hand slowly going down. That's what it's going. If you look at bar 1, and then bar 5 or so, and then bar 8 or something. And the natural place to end, at the end of the second line, the natural place to fall now is ba, But instead he goes ya ba 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 ya do 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 do. Wonder which notes they are. Ba, ba, ba. All we're missing is an A, and there's an A in the bass, in the left hand rather. I only just learned this myself. If you look at the notes he's using in this bar, end of line 2, I don't think you can see my mouse actually, or maybe you can. But if look at that, it's every note we couldn't quite call it an E minor scale, but it's bass. Every single note except for an E in an E minor scale, and including a D sharp as well. So every single note. I mean, yeah, Gary's analyzing it as a special chord, but it's also actually every single note in an E minor scale except for an E. Isn't that cunning? And you wouldn't notice that just listening. It's not a gimmick. Because it feels like a song. And that's something else to say as well. That, it's way how it sounds Phrygian because there's that semitone embedded within. But, yada doo doo. The other thing to say about it is how lyrical is this? Could you sing it? Could you sing this? You know, if I've been singing it, and there's something that feels like someone singing about, someone singing for their pain. This. And there's something so singable about that. So let's move on to line 3. Max says, no, I suck at singing. Fair enough. You'd run out of breath, though. Yeah, well, you find places to breathe, wouldn't you? It sounds like a person crying. And there's an idea in older music of what I think is called a Seufzer. And if you speak German, you can correct me. But Seufzer, I think it's that, which means sigh. Which is a sort of rhetorical gesture in music of a musical sigh that Chopin almost seems to be going for here. But let's go on to the third line now, and you tell me Seufzer. Thank you, Frank. Let's go on now to the third line. Tell me what's happening, please. Jump around my microphone. I'm just going to leave it there at that line. Okay, recap. That's interesting. Jeffrey says he took a lot of inspiration from bel canto, operatic arias. And in this sense, you can really hear that. So the harmony moves faster. Very good. Brian says recap. So we're back at the beginning again. We're hearing familiar material. That's all familiar. That's verbatim what we heard at the very beginning. But now the harmony changes faster. Yes, Dawn. And it falls faster too. Instead of going... This time it goes... Whoa, and you feel this drop in your stomach. The fact that it all tumbles much faster than it had before. And it keeps going... Back at that dominant. And now finally we're arriving. What's happening in this last bit? Not last time we'd go down. Whatever. This time. What's happened? It's not all the answers are complicated. Some of them are very simple indeed. Mm. Harmony moves faster. Sounds that it become more dissonant, along with the melody becoming faster. Is the melody fast? Yeah, well, the melody does get faster. Yes, it does. Yeah, and that has this effect of being more intense. And I guess we get our first forte here in this climax, and our lowest point of register so far is this. And then that's another crazy dissonance. You know, it's just begging to be resolved to an E minor, isn't it? Every single note is out of place, and every single note is just. It should be. That would be a simple version of doing it, but instead it's. Just every note is slightly out. Yes, Frank, we're at the climax, and so yeah. Steven says his other score is different. I think this score is a bad score. I nabbed it off IMSLP for this video, but I think there's a mistake somewhere as well. I think there's a mistake around here. So this score isn't perfect, but it does the trick. You had a burst of speed to stop the listener getting bored. You could say that. The jump to the high G. Yes, interesting. Matthew says the jump to the high G. That's da da ya da 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 ya. Gives an overwhelming sense of the oncoming 3, 2, 1. But it doesn't resolve even there. It's an intense outburst, and again, you can almost imagine someone wailing it, someone singing it. It is the climax, and yeah, the music gets more angry and despairing. Yeah, it's wonderful. Let's go on, shall we? Or is there anything else to say? I'll go on. Yada yadu do 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 do. I'm so sorry about the sustain pedal. What is this? Yadu do you feel like there's a slight lapse of tension there? We've had do you feel that, or is it just me? He's finally he's settled on a tonic for just a moment, where it's actually got a root note, you know, A minor with an actual A in the bass for once. Yeah, it's resigned sounding, yeah. What's going on now in this last line? I messed that up. Okay, so tell me about that, if you please. By the way, I had my foot on the sustain pedal the entire time. It's just not working. So that's if you've just come here and you're wondering why is he playing like a moron, then that's why. And also, I'm not an amazing pianist either. Yep. Brian says, I think Chopin is going to be setting up a B major to E minor cadence. And yeah, he's setting that up so much. Doubling the value? I don't know what that means. A series of deceptive cadences. He doesn't want it to end. So we're going, he doesn't want it to end. It's still not. And then finally, we're coming to an end. Complete surprise cadence, and then at last that could be the ending, you know. What a disappointment that would be. But, you know, that could be an ending. Ba, ba, and then side slip again. Whoa. And at last. So is there any other thoughts we have on that final line? Yep, Dawn, we're finally home at that ending. Says Craig. Yeah, I feel you. You could practice your fingering or add more pedal. I don't have, my pedal's not working, and I could certainly practice my fingering. Yeah, a very prolonged cadence. He spends 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bars to actually finish and fulfill that cadence. So yeah, I don't think there's a Neapolitan chord in there. Yeah, bravo Oscar. Yeah, wonderful playing from me. Is there anything else we want to say about this, or should we go over to one more? I'm open to suggestions. Ideally, is something like not huge. You know, maybe. I went to a concert recently where they ruined it, so there's nothing ready for Carnegie. All right, what about like a simple piece of Liszt or Debussy's Clair de Lune or something? Or Liszt would be quite nice. If you give me a second to find some Liszt, I'll turn my display off for a second. A little bit of Liszt, because I know. I'll have to find the score online. I'm not going to do something crazy difficult with Liszt, because I don't want to completely humiliate myself here. But while I find it, I actually had some questions. I was going to ask them at the end, but I might as well ask a couple now. Actually, we'll look at the list. We'll have some fun with the list, and then I'll talk about that. Sorry, hold on. Here we go. This is what I wanted, I think. Wait, is it? What on earth? I'm looking for a very specific bit of Liszt. That was weird. Sorry, folks. Scriabin poems. I don't. William Tell. Lots of suggestions. I should say this is the kind of thing that I'm adding lots of into the workshop, into the composing journey program as well. This is the kind of thing I love doing, is diving into scores, and there's actually I'm actually thinking of doing some sort of live with people on that program as well. But hold on, IMSLP is just ticking down. Here we go. This is the one I wanted. There we go. All right, here we are. I'm planning on doing this kind of thing, and actually I had something quite exciting to tell you, which I think it's quite exciting anyway. But let's quickly look at some Liszt. Let's do a little more of this because I'm having fun. All right. Okay. All right. Anyone recognize this? Yes, Jacob. The program is. You can watch it later. You do not have to do it this once you have access. You have access forever. So if you can't do it this week, then that's okay. Oh, I've forgotten to press screen share again. Sorry. There you go. Wow, ta-da! Once you have access forever, and that means that you can do it in your own time. There'll be a bunch of us going through it this month, but also we'll still be here in 3 months, or if you want to get it now and then do it later. Here we are. Yes, Jeffrey, it is the Consolation number 3 with no sustain pedal. I bet you've never heard it played with no sustain pedal before. I wish I had a sustain pedal. So first, what is that? What effect is that? Maybe I should get a performance. Would people prefer if I got a performance of a decent pianist doing that? I prefer it anyway. Sorry about this. I'm not sure this is legal actually. Maybe I should avoid doing that just because I'm not actually sure this is legal. It's so disappointing. I'm sorry about my sustain pedal. So, these first two lines, firstly, be obvious, okay? Be obvious. Don't rub us of your performance. Yeah, Brian, the score should be up on the screen. Tell me about these first two bars before the right hand even comes in, right? Yep. We already know we're in D flat because of the loud D flat in the bass. Yeah, but try and think about this a little more. Try and think about the wash of sound. That it's almost orchestral. I think it's almost like being orchestration, right? Yeah, there are arpeggios, but there's also this wash of harmony. He could have just gone. But there's this sempre legatissimo, and if the sustain pedal was down, you'd hear this wash of D flat major. Yeah, and it's a beautiful vibe, as Dawn has said. And then you got this ya. So what happens immediately as soon as the melody comes in? The melody is wonderfully lyrical. Ya ya do 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 da dee dee dee. But what happens? What does Liszt do brilliantly as soon as the melody comes in? I'm so sorry about the sustain pedal, but you know, we'll survive. What happens? Brian's almost there, but that's not quite it. Yeah, what Jeffrey? Yeah, it changes to G. We would expect we firmly established. What are we expecting here? We firmly established D flat major, and now we're getting ya ya. We should be ya ya ba ba or something, but instead it's. Does anyone know what that chord is? A G, B flat, D flat, F. What we call those chords? It's. It's desperate to be resolved. Such a good pianist. Almost a diminished seventh. Almost a diminished seventh. It's a half diminished seventh, really. A diminished seventh would be with an E, but this is a half diminished, right? A diminished seventh would be all minor thirds. Minor third, minor third, minor third. But this is minor third, and this interval's a major third. So it's a half diminished. It's almost half. Well, sorry, it is half. It's not. It's almost diminished. And you see, even though the voices are broken up, it still moves in that side-slipping way, doesn't it? Look. Right? Yeah. And he's introducing these little motives here. We're not going to get through the whole piece today, but he's introducing these little motives here, which you'll be darned will come back a lot later on. So he's introducing his main ideas. Do you remember, I think in the first lesson, or no, the third lesson maybe, I said, what were my 2 rules about structure? I'm doing a very Socratic method of teaching today, but what were my 2 rules about structure? Number 2 was take us on a satisfying musical journey? And what was number one that Liszt has done perfectly here and that Chopin did in the last piece that we looked at? What were they? It's a very simple answer. I'm not getting anything, and I don't know how long to wait before just saying it. Yep, A.A. Riley. Yep, have an ultra. Everyone's got to have an ultra clear idea. Have an absolutely clear idea. Yeah, yeah. You know the first one. That was aggressive. Yeah, unmistakable. You know, unmistakable. Or, and we arrive back at home again. And this one. And now he's going to do it again. What do you think will happen this time? Magicians. I used to like magic tricks as an 11-year-old, and magicians never do the same trick twice. Was one of the rules that you always heard of. Sorry, that was messy, but he's slipped somewhere else, and so effortlessly as well. He's slipped somewhere else. So anyway, I've really got my. I feel a bit reluctant to continue with this with my sustain pedal. With my sustain pedal not working, but are there any other? And later on, you see now he's just enhancing it with these. But listen, the key thing is I've been modeling a lot especially over the last few months in particular. Actually, I had a sort of fun announcement. We won't let you go before you do rack 3 without pedal, are you? I can't remember what key it's in. Easy, no pedal. That's definitely not the right key. So the key is you can learn so much if you're looking for the right things, and it really depends what you're looking for. And actually, I've been modeling a lot of John Williams. Oh, it's in D minor. Yeah, did it. I'm a pro. So you can learn a lot from modeling, and I've actually been modeling a lot of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone recently, just for fun, and the kind of all that fun stuff, Quidditch match and Leaving Hogwarts. What I was actually thinking as a sort of fun bonus is that we could have, for those who join us in the workshop, in the program, I'm getting confused. For those who join us in the program, I was thinking of doing a fun bonus where we go live and we walk through Leaving Hogwarts in a lot of depth, and because I've learned it by memory now, and it's one thing that we can walk through absolutely thoroughly. And another thing is the Quidditch match scene from Harry Potter, where we can absolutely break down exactly what's happening. And that's not just piano, that's orchestra as well. So we can talk about how John Williams is orchestrating that. And I thought I'd announce that as a sort of fun bonus as well, where if you want to join the workshop by the end of tomorrow, that's Wednesday, 4th of May. If you want to join in the composer's journey by the end of tomorrow, then I'll invite you to a live call this week where we'll go through some John Williams music, Harry Potter, Leaving Hogwarts, and also Harry Potter Quidditch match. I thought that'd be really fun because I've been literally learning them by memory this week, just to or over the last few weeks, just to sort of enhance my own vocabulary as well, because I love those scores. But I had a couple questions for you. So Jacob, where did I get the Harry Potter score? Well, they actually sell it as a children's suite, and a children's suite has a lot of the great moments in it. So that's I've got it in my bedroom right now. It's my bedtime reading. All right. So I wanted to ask you first. I'll take some questions about the composer's journey in a moment, but I had a few questions for you while you're here. First, would people appreciate? Because I hadn't thought about doing one, but would people appreciate a sort of payment plan for it where they can pay just in sort of small increments over the coming months rather than all one lump sum. Because I know that there are some sort of master's students and students there who would rather not take that kind of chunk out at once. And it's different things for different people. But if there are people who are interested in that, let me know, because obviously I want to make it accessible to as many people as possible, and there's so much in that program. Actually, I'll get the course. I'll show you the full course syllabus now, because I wrote it in a document for the course users, but there's no reason why I can't show you now. If I drag it over, but people would like that. Oh, lovely. Oh, I'm glad, because I just didn't think about it. I was so busy putting the whole thing together that I didn't mean for it to be sort of exclusive, But there was so much in there that I didn't want to knock myself out giving it away, So Emilian, I actually wasn't planning on opening it again until January. Now that might change. I don't want to make a statement and then change on that. But at the same time, it's a funny thing juggling all these different things, and I'd planned to do this with a group of people, and then and get and another of the questions I saw was, and this ties in, another questions that I saw were, will there be live sessions? Now, the course itself is on video, but we were just talking this morning about having live feedback sessions every month where we can hear people's music, we can give feedback on it, or I can give personalized feedback on the music you produced that month, which I think would be really fun as well as a bonus. And I'll send this in an email so that those who aren't here can do that. So I wasn't planning on opening it again in the near future, but Emilian, exactly when I'll open it again, I can't tell you. In my head, it was January, but actually, I'll play it by ear a little bit. So yeah, great. Yes, Frank, this is the updated version, which you should have access to. But actually, having said that, because someone was saying, oh, I'm worried that the course will be repetitious. There are two people at least, Fran and Grace, from the original course, who are actually saying, I'm really excited to go through the course a second time. They're actually going to go through the program a second time. It's the same material, a few extras and definitely some bonuses and things. But they're saying they're going to go through it a second time because they got so much out of it the first time. So I know there was someone on the Discord worrying that it would be the same as the workshop, but there's actually a lot in here. First, there's this bonus on productivity where I talk about lots of different composer routines, how you can balance composing around having jobs, how you can measure progress when composing, because that can be an awkward thing, building habits. But then onto the creative phase, there's a lot of things on limitations, learning from John Williams' themes, which we'll do with some program members tomorrow. If you want to join by the end of Wednesday, then I'll invite you to a call where we can do that live. Also, examples of developing your ideas. This is really key. For example, actually, you have a theme, but then how do you actually turn that theme into 1,000 different things? How can you develop that theme, take it further, and draw it out for as long as you like? Danielle, it's nice to see Danielle. Danielle was also in the test group, and Danielle says she's totally excited to go through it again herself. So that's 3 people at least who have been through the original and are going to go through it again. And that was just to answer. I saw it in the Discord this morning that I'm worried it's just going to be repetitious. It's going to be a repeat of the workshop. And I felt like, I felt a bit like, that's not true. That's not how it is. That's amazing that Danielle's going to go through it again. I'm really happy to hear that. And it's been lovely to get to know these people over this process. So anyway, there is, how to develop your ideas, I've already said. The Tech Quick Start, this is for people who aren't sure which virtual instruments are best for them. Headphones examples, and also doors, talking about doors and talking about things. So someone asked, how many hours per week? It's 4 weeks. The course is in 4 weeks, and I'll say there's about an hour or an hour and a half's material per week to watch, and then there are assignments every week. And obviously, I'm not going to be standing over your shoulder with a ruler making sure you do it. But the assignments are there to actually get your next piece of music written. So that they're there. Sorry, I'm reading the questions. It's saying I should just answer one question at a time. The assignments are there to get your next piece of music written. So we get to the planning phase, and here's where we start modeling a lot. You see, Shostakovich and Vivaldi and Mozart and Britten and Beethoven. That's a long one on Beethoven and John Adams. So this is where we go really deep, because the creative phase is more about finding creativity. The planning phase is where we go really deep with modeling, with real concrete examples. Sempre Leggero says, did Glenn and Johannes do it too? Yes. They were both in the program. I haven't heard from them I don't think they're in this workshop. So I don't know whether they'll go through it a second time. But yeah, they were in the program. Everybody that I've highlighted in this workshop were in the, sorry, I've got the hiccups. were in the original program. So so all of their music was written during the program, and we had a sort of party where we listened to it all at the end of the month. So here we go, onwards. Now this looks like fewer videos for the writing phase, but what you got to realize, this one is about 40 minutes long, and this one is about 20 minutes long, the counterpoint one, where we go really in depth about counterpoint, and I look at one of my favorite pieces of counterpoint, Holst Fugal Overture. But this is a detailed how-to on writing, a sort of step-by-step process of finding your melody and your bass and your harmony and your counterpoint, your structure and your orchestration, and putting it all together. So that's something that I love. And then I've also added in this bonus where you'll see over my shoulder. Firstly, I explain how I work in Cubase, and it can apply to whatever DAW you're using, how I work with a template. And now I've added, Danielle and people won't have seen this yet because this is new, I've added in videos where you can have a complete look at my template, and you can also watch me work. You can watch me take piano sketches, turn them into orchestral sketches, and then turn them into full orchestral sounds. And that's what this bonus is all about in week 3. Yeah, Jacob, you can absolutely buy it and then do it in the summer. If you don't have much time now, you can absolutely get it and do it later. And actually, I was planning to do feedback calls through the summer, because the only trouble is I've got to go to California in May, lucky me, for a music thing, which I'm really excited about, but that will obviously disrupt my life a bit, going away and then coming back. And so there'll be a couple of weeks where I won't be able to do a feedback. So I was planning on doing the feedback sessions in June, July, August, around that kind of time. And then here, polishing phase, where we talk about the idea of editing, but we also actually go pretty deep into orchestration, principles and processes of turning your sketches into orchestra. Yeah, Riley, tough life. Well, it's the first time I've been abroad in about 3 years, in fairness, but yeah, 2 years actually. But yeah, no, I know, I'm lucky. I've never been to California before, so I'm actually very excited. And then mixing as well, my process for mixing. And this is, again, these videos are actually, it doesn't look like much, but this is like a 25-minute video. This is like a 10, I can't remember the exact number, but these are significant videos. So Fellow says, how proficient should one be in counterpoint and harmony to take the course? Now, it's a tricky one, because what I say is you are always learning and producing. And when you are learning, a lot of people make the mistake of thinking, I need to wait 5 years before I can write anything. I need to wait 10 years until I've studied everything that I can before I can start composing. And this just isn't real. This isn't a good way of thinking. You can be producing. What you've got to let go of is perfectionism. You can produce things while learning. And I feel like the people who went through the course last time successfully did that. You can go through the course while simultaneously learning. And the other thing is, when you're modeling music, and actually I can take your suggestions for modeling to some extent as well, you will learn at different levels. Like with this Chopin piece we just looked at, there were some fairly complex things, but there were also things which you could learn even if you weren't that experienced with harmony and counterpoint. In fact, there was very little counterpoint in that Chopin piece at all, but you could still learn how his harmony functions. And if you were to have studied harmony traditionally, then that Chopin piece would have made no sense whatsoever from a traditional harmonic standpoint. But it makes sense when you look at it in a slightly different way, when you look at it in terms of the voice leading and the voices side slipping and falling downwards. So you don't need to have studied harmony and counterpoint. If you are completely unfamiliar with any music whatsoever, then this might not be the right thing for you. But you do not. In our test group, we had people from all different backgrounds. We had people who had been experienced for decades, and we had people who were fairly new to music and were just keen to get into composing, and they all got something out of it. They all learnt at their own level, and I think that's what's really important. Yes, Aaron, you can buy it and do it in your own time. And yeah, Frank is right. You learn by doing, and this is why you can go through the course learning while doing it. And this is why I give you assignments and missions during the course. So Jacob says, I'm just 14-year-old. Is that a problem? If your parents are okay with it, that's not a problem. There's nothing that would be inappropriate for a 14-year-old. It's all music. It's all what you've seen in the syllabus here. So there we are. Never sees, that's lovely. And Sempre Leggiera says, Nadia Boulanger says, never cease being a student. And I've recently been really embracing the joy of learning again. And I used to think, I'm not there yet. I have to learn. And one day I'll be there. One day I'll have made it where I know everything and I'm ready to compose. And after a couple of years longer, you start to realize you never stop being a student. And actually, if you sort of reframe that and realize just how fun it is to learn and how fun it is to discover and compose, then it really changes the game. So what I'm thinking is I should put this payment plan together, and if people join by the end of tomorrow, then we'll get an extra bonus live session, maybe even on Thursday. We'll get an extra bonus live session where we'll go through Leaving Hogwarts and the Quidditch match by John Williams, just for those who join. And if you've already joined, you'll get access to this as well. But just for those who join by the end of Wednesday, we'll get an extra bonus where we do some Harry Potter complete breakdowns. Yeah, that'll be really fun. So I'll put that together, and you'll get an email tomorrow morning, I think, about that. So I'll put it together by tomorrow morning, and then if you get it by the end of tomorrow, I'll invite you to probably Thursday night. I've just got to check my calendar, but probably Thursday evening, same time. We'll do a fun breakdown of all of that. Now, someone says, when exactly does the course start? So the course is starting this week. The opening period is now between now and Friday, 6th of May. There's some flexibility about how you do it. There are videos where you learn, and then there are assignments. I'm even thinking about putting together a community where people can support each other. The reason I've and maybe you can help me now in the comments. The reason I've hesitated on this is because I knew I'd be away for 2 weeks in May, and it would be hard for me to constantly moderate it while I was away. But the other reason is I wasn't sure the best way to do it. A Facebook group or a membership website, which if Danielle's still here, she'll remember how we did that, or Discord. And I wasn't quite sure which way the best way would be to run a community. But maybe I can poll. If people join this week, I can poll people on which one they would prefer, and then we can set that up for next week. So there'll be a community you can go through it with together, and then I will be giving live feedback. I think that's the best way to do it, is live feedback from beginning of June, because that will give you the chance to go through the whole. So I'll if there's a community page, I can look at your work in the meantime, but the proper live feedback would be once you've written a full piece of music, then we could listen, learn, and then you can go through the whole process again, right? This is the thing. A lot of people, especially young people, I think, have gone off Facebook, and probably rightly so. But some kind of community could work well. I could even set up a community on my website, which I did for the original program. But that's the only downside of that is you have to be in the habit of checking it, because you won't get an email when you get a note. Facebook already has a platform set up which people check often, whereas my website, people, if they do the course, that's one thing, but people won't be in the habit of checking the community too often. But maybe that's okay. Yep, the old folks from the first run, they should have full access. If you were in the first version of the course, check my website. You should automatically have been gatewayed into the new version. That's interesting. Gabby says subreddit. I'd never considered a subreddit. I'm gonna set up a poll because there's lots of different options. Do we have any other questions about this program? Because there was another thing. Actually, no, there wasn't. That was all. The main thing to say is if I'll set up a payment plan because I know that will help some of you. Yeah, but Haley's saying a Google Classroom type of thing, and I'm wondering if the trouble with that is I don't. The trouble with that is you want to be able to give work even if you live in Australia. You want to be able to post things and not have to worry about what time you wake up. Still waiting for full Rack 3. Maybe I'll add that in as an extra bonus, as me trying to read my way through Rack 3. If you join by Wednesday, you can watch me muddy through Rack 3 without a sustain pedal. Yes, Emilian, that's what I'm saying. A payment plan would mean paying in installments. So I think I'll add that tomorrow because I can see that that's a popular option where we can pay maybe over 3 months, and I'll have a live class every 3 months where we can get feedback on our work as well. Not every 3 months, over 3 months. That would be a good idea. Subreddit seems to be popular, and actually I could see that. Okay. I'll have to talk in more detail. Okay, I'll have to have a think about this. So week 1, you will have access as soon as you get into the course. You will have access to week 1, and then you'll have assignments at the end of that. You get your assignments at the end of the creative phase, and then in a week's time you will get access to week 2. The reason I've dripped it out like this is because I don't want you getting overwhelmed with information too soon. I want you to focus on the creative phase and produce your own creative phase, and then next week you're going to focus on the planning phase and produce your own plan, and so on. That's why I'd sort of drip it out week by week. But yeah, but Craig, you can do it at that pace if that works better for you. But I didn't want to hold back information for 2 weeks at a time. If you would prefer to produce your plan over 2 weeks, then you can. And if you would prefer to do one module every 2 weeks, you absolutely can. It's about an hour to an hour and a half's material every week. Maybe if you add in the bonuses, then more than longer. But it's up to you. I mean, you can do it in your own time. You don't have to do it absolutely in step with the course. So, do we have any other questions? And remember, if you sign up by tomorrow, you'll get an invitation to a live stream where we'll go through Leaving Hogwarts and Quidditch Match. And you'll want to listen to them beforehand as well, so you've got them in your head, especially if my sustain pedal isn't still working. I'll try and fix that for next time. So do we have any more questions? How necessary are keyboard skills? They're always worth learning, but they're not necessary for this. They're always worth learning, but they're not necessary for this. K Squared says, would it make more sense to start the course when you're back from California? No, because I'm going to do the live feedback once you've finished the month. I'm going to do the live feedback every month once we've finished a new piece of music. So the course is already here. The course is already completely produced and ready for you to take. So no cheating, no sustain pedal. So no, it wouldn't make sense. Now it's all ready for you, and I've produced everything here. All of these, everything on this list is fully prepared and made. There's nothing here that's unprepared. It'll be the feedback sessions that I'll be doing at the beginning of June, and then again, I'll be doing feedback sessions over the summer. So you'll have the chance to go through this course, produce something, and then learn from that experience, and then do it again. Thank you so much, Craig. That's really kind words. Just to go a little deeper with Somnivox about keyboard skills, it's not crucial. But again, I want to go back to saying that when you're learning music, you're always learning. And when you're composing music, you're always learning. And I've found a real excitement recently breaking down, say, John Williams' harmony. I don't know, or John Williams' counterpoint in the Quidditch match. I'm not going to try and play it now because I'll embarrass myself. But you know, the whole kind of like it's so interesting. And also this when he goes yeah, if you listen to that recording in Leaving Hogwarts, yeah, da, da, there's a Celeste going. You know, that kind of this. It's completely dissonant, but it just adds this magic. And I've been trying to figure out how it all works, and that's what we'll talk about on in the next live. If you join the program by the end of Wednesday, so it's not necessary, but there's always joy in learning. And I would encourage you, Somnivox, to tinkle on the piano and figure things out, because there is real reward. Or maybe you have your own instrument, maybe you have a guitar or something, but there is real reward in being able to play polyphony, being able to play multiple lines at once, which can be rewarding. But it's not necessary for the program. The whole point of the program is you're constantly going in this cycle of learning, developing, composing. Learning, developing, composing. Sempre Leggero says, do we have any more lessons in the workshop this week? This was the last live one for the free workshop, but I will still be sending you more content. I'm going to send students music tomorrow, and I've got more plans for the rest of the week. But also, I'll be on the Discord. I'll be encouraging you to finish your plans and things. So yeah, learning piano does help. So does learning anything helps, honestly. And again, K Squared says, what will be happening in the workshop tomorrow, Thursday and Friday? There won't be lives, although if you join us on Wednesday, then I will set up a live session where, if you join the program on Wednesday, I will set up a live session where we go through some John Williams, and maybe I'll even add in a Rachmaninoff 3 bonus, which I'm sure would be a real smash hit with at least one of you. But I don't have live sessions planned for now. If people have a lot of questions, I could do another Q&A, and we could maybe do another fun modeling one, maybe on Friday or something. I don't know, but I'll play it by ear a little bit. I'll try and read the room, see what people want, because I think we've got plenty to think about now. Good. Yes, Riley, do it. AA Riley. I want to write something ghastly for a Miss Ma in my awful Christmas horn. Yeah, good. Go for it. I'll make you famous. All right. Any other questions? Yeah, lovely. All right. I think we're good. So look out for an email. I'll set up the payment plan now. So it'll be available if you look in the next hour on the workshop page. There'll be a payment plan link. Below the main link, there'll be a payment plan link. So give me an hour to set that up. But have a look there, because you can get on tonight, and then you'll be in for the John Williams modeling session probably on Thursday. So check back in an hour on that lesson, and I should have set up a payment plan by then so that you can have fun with that. All right. Thank you. Thanks so much. I really hope you've enjoyed it. What I really wanted from this workshop, and I know, I'm offering my program too, and that's something that I needed to do, but at the same time, I wanted to give. I love sharing this, and I wanted to give you a lot in this workshop. So I really hope you've got a bunch out of it. And this program, if you wanted to, will help you to go further. But that's just for people who really want to And I've tried to show you as well how I teach. How I teach, and how I teach through the program as well, and how I've just tried to share with you why I love music, why I love the art of composing, in the hope that you'll see what you'll get out of it, and what I can share with you. So anyway, thank you so much. I'll send you an email with the outline for the composer's journey. I've also posted it on Discord, but I will send you an email with this outline so you can have a look. I'll send that tomorrow probably. Great. I'll give me an hour to set up the payment plan. So 8 p.m. British time or so. I should have set it up by then. It'll just take me it'll just take me a little while to set up. I'm a dunce for not thinking about it in the beginning, but you know, when you've got so many things, I'm a one-man team here, and when you've got so many things to juggle, sometimes a silly little thing like that slips your memory. So thank you. Lots of love to you all. You've been great. I've really enjoyed this experience. All right. Bye-bye.